Всем привет! Сегодня расскажу, как выживать и погнали! Я вам расскажу. Первый трейдер. То, что от него выжить, нужно закрыть дверь. Следующий у нас бой, просто на него смотреть. Следующий у нас следующий. Следить.
Seems that your journey has ended. Very sorry about that. It was always going to end this way, of course. If it weren't by me, it would have just been by some other, terrible thing. Just, you could not imagine how terrible it would be. Just, I get scared thinking about it. I'm glad it's not me. It reminds me of a time I was speaking to my good friend Orville. We were sitting on a park bench watching the pigeons. I was on the left, he was on the... Wait, was I on the right or left? Anyways, it doesn't matter. We were sitting on there watching the pigeons. And I said to Orville, "Friend, those birds are frozen." And he kind of looked at me like I lost my mind. But I reminded him that it was winter, and often birds will sit in a tree until they freeze. Then they sort of fall to the ground until the sun warms up. And they can, move around again. So I said to Orville, "You might as well save those breadcrumbs until the birds thaw, because they can't very well enjoy them in the condition they're in." To which he asked what I meant, and asking what condition the crumbs should be in before he threw them to the birds, assuming that I meant the birds couldn't enjoy the breadcrumbs in the condition that the crumbs were in, when in fact I had meant the birds could not enjoy them in the condition that the birds were in, considering that the birds were frozen. So he took a moment and then threw his last handful onto the ground. I said to him, "Orville, why did you throw the breadcrumbs to the birds when I just told you they're frozen?" To which he responded, "The breadcrumbs are not frozen." Again, misunderstanding my words. I didn't mean to say that the breadcrumbs were frozen when I said I told you they're frozen. I'd been referring to the birds. In hindsight, make perfect sense. Why did you throw the breadcrumbs to the birds when the birds are frozen? He misunderstood upon my correction, stating that he didn't know what else to do with the breadcrumbs, and that perhaps, when the birds thawed, they'd still be able to eat the crumbs. So I said to Orville, and this is what I said to him, I said, "Orville, the birds may be dead."
Фантом Манго. Просто нельзя смотреть на камеры, которые она есть. Следующий у нас кошмарный Фредди. Чтобы выжить, надо свои фонарики в этом месте. Следующий у нас кошмарный дом. То, что от него выжить, нам нужно таким образом. Купить ему игрушку.
Please, thank you for depositing 5 coins.
Ему надо закрыть дверь.
How unfortunate. How unfortunate. I'm going to do a sneaky thing and throw a new contender in the ring.
Следующий кошмарный. Не смотреть. Потому что от него выжить нужно светить фонариком. Следующее у нас Бэйби. То, что от него выжить все просто. Надо купить игрушку Бэйби, тогда Бэйби тебя не поймает. Следующее Баора. От него выжить надо закрыть дверь слева или справа.
Please, thank you for depositing 5 coins.
У нас же Фантайм Фокси после Баоры. Потому что выжить от Фантайм Фокси нам нужно просто отлежаться на его шоу. Следующий у нас Хелпи. Да? Нет, Эмерсон. Надо услышать скрипы и закрой вентиляцию, когда ты услышишь. Следующий у нас Хелпи. Надо на него просто тыкнуть. Вот это...
Thank you for depositing 5 coins.
Следующий у нас Рокси. Тоже от него нет. У нас Хэппи.
I have something to tell you.
Лягушонок.
Excuse me, can you come a little closer?
То, что от нее выжить, надо просто включить аудио. Следующий у нас это переиграем.
Over here.
Что после мистер Бегемот? Надо аудиозвук. Потом у нас Биг Патч. Чтобы выключить патч, нам нужно тоже аудио включить. Следующий Медведь Нет. То, что от него выжить, то же самое надо сделать. То же самое надо сделать, если он
It seems that you have met your end. What a pity. You know, I don't feel too bad about it, though. After all, if it weren't me, it would have just been one of the others, I guess. I'm honestly just glad to be out of those air ducts. You know, it's not easy for a hippopotamus to fit up there, and not easy to get down either. Not as young as I used to be, as you can see. I used to be able to do all sorts of things. You're young, you're vibrant, you have that sort of pep in your step. It reminds me of a conversation I was having with one of my good friends, Orville. We were having a nice picnic one day. I believe it was summer. No, perhaps it was... Was it the fall? Yes. It was the fall because the leaves had turned already. But I said to Orville, I says, Orville, I have a story to tell you. And Orville looked at me, kind of odd and said, what's it about? I said to him, not every story has to be about something, Orville. Sometimes a person just wants to talk. Why does everything have to be a story? I said to him. He just looked at me and he said, well, you said you had a story. And, he was quite right. I did, in fact. I told him I had a story. I suppose if a person just wants to talk, then it's best to not announce that you're telling a story. Telling a story does come with its own pressures and expectations, I suppose. After all, if you're just talking to a friend, then there's no more expectations than if you were talking into the wind. Words by themselves aren't expected to carry, aren't expected to stick. But if you announce you're telling a story, well then, there'd better be a point to it all, No one wants to sit and listen to someone ramble on and on and on with absolutely no end in sight. So, it's good to be mindful that when you tell someone that you're about to tell a story, that you have something to say. Telling someone